All right, guys, I'm here with Rocky and Sailor, my assistant coaches at the gym, and we wanted to do for you guys a prediction sleepers #1 picks for the upcoming ADCC, which is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And we just couldn't be more excited. This is the pinnacle of our sport. This one took extra long because COVID postponed. It's usually every 2 years. This one was 3 years. There's just so much excitement behind this one. More tickets sold by a landslide, more excitement, more social media, more everything is just seeming like this is going to be just the biggest one ever. For sure it's going to be the biggest one ever. So we wanted to do picks for it. We're each going to pick like 1, 2, maybe 3 of our favorites. We're going to tell you who we each think is going to win, and we're going to give you one dark horse or sleeper for each division.
All right, so real quick before we get started, for each division, there's like 60 people in each division. So I'm gonna have a list of the roster up above us. So with that being said, for the 66 kilogram division, I have as my top 3, Cole Abate, Ethan Krillenstein, and Gary Tonin. My sleeper is gonna be Keith Kikorian. I really like Keith, he's a really nice guy. I've met him a few times. I have Gary winning the whole thing.
Cool. All right, Sailor, you want to go next?
Sure. My top 3 picks to win this are just my favorites are Ashley Williams. I think he's heavily slept on. I think he's really good coming out of the UK scene, very good. Cole Abate, obviously, did really good at trials, and he's trying to surpass Hoffa as the youngest champion ever in ADCC. Super awesome. And Gary Tonin. Dark horse, who I think is could come out by a landslide, maybe is Keith. I think Keith is, again, a super nice guy. I think for that division, he has some of the best leg locks in the game. I think it's a very good debate. I think Gary's going to win the whole thing. I think his wrestling is just the best out of that entire division. And I don't think anyone's going to step up.
All right, cool. Well, I'll go ahead and say it. We're all going to pick Gary. So I'm picking Gary #1 also. I'm just excited to see how his wrestling and overall game does in that weight class. My other picks are going to be Ethan Krillenstein, no surprise. Cole Abate, no surprise. And my sleeper for that division is going to be the Brazilian that we just saw at who's #1, hitting crazy throws and trips in Fabricio Andre. He's kid just seems like a monster. And when you see somebody with that kind of hype and momentum, especially with the stand-up for ADCC, I think he gets a nod too. So #1 pick, Gary, though.
All right, so the 77 kilogram division, the most stacked division in this tournament. A lot of hard choices here, but to make this quick, my top 3 is going to be JT Torres, Mika Galvao, and Nicky Ryan. My sleeper is going to be William Tackett. I really like the Tackett brothers, and I really do want them to win.
Cool. All right, you can't overlook JT. I also have Nicky Ryan, Gordon's little brother, and Cade Rutolo as my top 3. Really tough division. 77 and 88 are the toughest ones to pick from. But if I had to narrow it down, I'm going to say those 3 guys. A lot of great wrestlers in 77 and 88, but I'm going to pick those 3 guys. And my sleeper will be Oliver Taza, because why not?
Awesome. My top 3. So obviously JT, Mika, and Nicky Ryan. Again, so those are some of the best wrestlers. Maybe not Mika. Mika is kind of hard to see how good his wrestling is right now. We'll see this weekend. My dark horse is going to be Roberto Jimenez. I think Roberto is just so dangerous. If he gets on your back, I mean, it's just game over. I mean, he has some of the best back attacks in the game. So yeah.
My top 3 for the 88 kilogram division is Giancarlo Badoni, J-Rod, and Wagner Rocha. J-Rod being my sleeper. Again, one of the younger guys that I feel like I relate to. I want J-Rod to win. So that's my pick.
That's fair. For another tough division, stacked with guys who can wrestle, the Wagners and Hingers. Nobody wants to shoot on either of those guys. Just such a stacked division. If I had to break it down to 3 guys, I'm going to say Giancarlo Badoni, Mason Fowler, and Ty Rutolo. With Fowler being my sleeper, I don't necessarily think Fowler's picked to win, but I think that he's a guy with the game for ADCC that tends to stand out. Like people forget he has a couple wins over Craig in the SUG or whatever division that was. And my winner though, Ty Rotolo. I think Ty Rotolo, this is his year. I think he's going to win that division.
Yeah, my top three. I have Matthias Denise, Giancarlo, and Wagner Hocha. I mean, me and Rocky both saw Wagner double gold at Worlds, so you can never count Wagner out, no matter how old he may seem. Okay. My sleeper, who I think has a chance of winning, is Isaac Michel. I think, if you saw him at Worlds, you saw him win Who's Next, saw him win trials. He's just a monster. His wrestling is so underrated. And really, who I think is going to win though is Giancarlo. I think Giancarlo's hand fighting is just top notch.
All right, 99 kilogram division, the big boys. My top three for this one is going to be Kanye Duarte, Craig Jones, and Nicholas Marigali. My sleeper is going to be Nicholas Marigali for 99 kilogram.
Cool. For my top three, basically, I think Craig is going to win. So Craig is my heavy pick for number one. I think Craig's going to win the thing. And I got two sleepers. I think the other guys that I'm excited to see in there are Luke Griffith. Is it Griffith or Griffith? Griffith, who is out of the New Wave camp. Dude's a monster. That some South African kid that nobody had heard of until we just saw him wrestle up and back take and murder a world champion on Who's Number One. So I think that the dude's huge. I think he's a sleeper. I also think that Nicholas Marigali is a sleeper for that division. And you might think, how can you call one of the greatest all times a sleeper? The dude's only been doing no-gi for a limited amount of time, and he's only been wrestling. They were just talking about how he hasn't wrestled before 4 months ago. He's never stood up and done techniques, gi or no-gi. Not judo, not wrestling, nothing. He hasn't stood up and done wrestling techniques, and he just mauled Rafael Levanto. So I think it's okay to call him a sleeper in the toughest division, potentially, or the toughest competition in the world.
Absolutely. My top three, I have Kanye Duarte, Nicholas Marigali, and Craig Jones. I do believe Craig is going to win. I think his wrestling is just probably the best out of that whole division. Though, I will say my dark horse, that could be, this is kind of controversial, I think Owen Livesey might have an edge on the wrestling in the judo. He's out of the UK, super jacked, gorilla looking dude, super good at judo. If you ever saw him UK trials, the European trials, he's throwing people through chairs. He's just an absolute monster. So he'll be my dark horse.
We could see that this year too. This could be the year that we see that. We see some big name come out. Jiu-Jitsu spreading like wildfire. We see some big name come out of South Africa or New Zealand or whatever. Jiu-Jitsu's there, and high-level guys are there. The studying's there, the content's there. Just like Craig was, 50-1 odds to beat Levanto?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, not Levanto. Leandro Lowe.
Yeah.
And he took his back and choked him? Almost like locked him, yeah. And we might see the next Craig Jones, the next big guy come out of the UK. Any of these guys have a chance. I don't see many bad names on that list.
That's why you love the sport. Never know.
Also, I think I forgot to mention for 99 kilograms, I think I have Craig Jones winning it. I forgot my top one, but that's my pick.
Craig.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. All right, the last division, 99 plus kilograms. Gordon Ryan.
Gordon Ryan?
Yep.
Gordon Ryan.
How do you spell it?
Gordon, right?
That's Gordon Ryan.
Gordon Ryan.
Yeah, Gordon Ryan.
On a more serious note, for my sleeper, I have Nicky Rod. Nicky Rod, just an animal, just an absolute monster. If I wanted to see anyone win besides Gordon, it would be Nicky Rod himself.
And it's interesting because he did kind of come up under Gordon. He was under Donner for a long time. One of the interesting things will be to see how the split between New Wave and B Team is working out. I see those guys training a lot, but are they doing the Danaher scientific drilling
of a banana
that New Wave and Danaher like to do? And maybe, I don't know if B Team, maybe there's a separation happening. Maybe Nicky Rod's passing Gordon. Nicky Rod knows what he does, knows how to roll with Gordon, and is a physical specimen. I don't see anybody knocking Nicky Rod down.
Absolutely.
It could be very interesting. We'll see.
Yeah. My dark horse is, again, Nicky Rod, all those reasons. He's just a monster.
Cool. All right, now the super fight between Gordon Ryan and Andre Galvao. This one's very, very tough. But honestly, I think Andre has this, assuming that Gordon Ryan gets into a car crash.
So I'll play, like, I guess the devil's advocate and say, like, Andre Galvez, I think the winningest competitor in ADCC history. Maybe not the most exciting, but I believe the winningest. I'm not 100% on that. He's up there, if not number one. The dude knows the point system very well at that ADCC overtime. He stalls, and then will break his opponents and then take you down. And he's super hard to take down, super hard to sweep, knock over. The guy's just built like a bowling ball. I just think that Gordon's the guy who can break him. I think that Gordon, throughout the whole match, Gordon's initial ties, his hand fights, his collar ties, his fakes, his everything that he does to off balance Galvo, that's going to be a long time that Galvo has to deal with that. And I think that stalling out and shooting at the end just isn't going to get it done. I think Gordon's going to beat him technically. I think Gordon has the confidence of youth. He's younger, he's stronger, he's better. And I think you're going to see two bulls kind of hit each other, and Gordon's going to come out on top.
Yeah, really can't follow up with that. That was perfect.
Cool. All right, so the last divisions we have are the female divisions. I'm going to pass the camera to one of our amazing competitors and coaches, Brittany Way. She is currently number 9 in the world, right?
Something like that.
Some number 9 in the world. She's very good, is what I'm trying to say. She's very knowledgeable about this. I feel like it's not our place to talk about the female division, so I'm going to pass the camera to her and see what she has to say.
I will say for 60 plus though, Kendall Roosing will win because she's my wife.
Yes.
Big Kendall Roosing fan.
Big guy. Yeah. All right, so. All right. I was thinking you'd root for Gabby Garcia.
She's my second wife.
Hey guys, I'm here in my truck, obviously. Want to give you the picks that I have for the female bracket. Let's start with the under 60 kilogram division. My first pick to win it all is going to be Bianca Basillo again. I'm just a huge fan of hers. She is an aggressive attacker, and I just love her game. Second pick, I'm going to have to go with Mesa Bastos. I'm a little partial to her because she's a 115er and she's kicking ass, and so I'm just rooting for a 115er to really go after the other girls and maybe do it for us. The third one is going to be Brianna Stay-Marie. She's also going to be my sleeper. I've seen her compete a bunch, and she's very technical. I really don't have anything bad to say against her. I'm also a big fan of hers. She's just she finishes every match I've ever seen her compete. She's finished with a submission. It's never gone into overtime. So those are my 3 picks. For the over 60 kilograms, number 1, I'm going to go with Kendall Roosing. Second one, Amy Campo. And then third, Rafael Guedes. I would say my sleeper would probably be Amy Campo, even though I picked her as number 2. Yeah, I'm going to leave Gabby Garcia out of it because I've seen in her last couple matches that she can get beat. So, yeah, those are my picks for the girls.